There are lots of ways of using Choose Happiness at Work. In another video, I've explained the basic setup for the game and how people normally play the game. But there are lots of ways of using the cards that come in the game, and many of those ways are described in this instructions and suggestions book that comes with the game. So let me just tell you about three of my favorites. Number one in the variations on the game is called Stack the Decks. It simply means you can customize and curate the game to suit your organization. So this is a deck of problematic scenarios at work. You, as a leader or an HR professional, can go through this deck and say, yep, applies to my organization. No, does not. Yes, I want this one in there. No, I don't want this one. And you can end up with a subset of this deck that is really focused on common issues at your organization. Then you can do the same thing with the solution deck. These solutions are intended to work for most organizations, but that doesn't mean every solution is going to be a good fit for your organization. Again, you can go through and choose the solutions you want to include in the game and pick out a few that you think are not a great fit and set those aside. That's called Stack the Decks, and that's a way of curating and customizing the game for your benefit to best suit your organization. Another way that is also described here in variations on the game is to have people pair up. So normally there are 7 people sitting around a table. You could have, or give or take, you could have 10 or 12 people sitting around the table paired up. This tends to work really well because 2 people are sharing a deck of 7 solution cards. So even before you play a solution card for the executive who has a problem, you and your partner say, I don't know, I really like this spend on the future idea. That'll get people thinking about the future. And somebody else says, oh, I think we should stay in the present and use this savor card to talk about how people can savor more of what's happening right now. Can lead to interesting pair discussions in addition to the group discussions that happen with the game. Finally, let me tell you about another way of using the cards that I really like a lot. First, let's say you have 30 people sitting at 3 tables of 10. Everybody gets dealt 7 or 10 of these scenario cards. So each individual gets a collection of problems, and each individual is told, please pick the problem you think is most relevant for the organization. I say, I must work very long hours is the problem I'm focused on. My partner at the table, we're paired up. Each of us picks a solution we think is most relevant to our organization. We pick which one we think is most important in our pair. Then each pair shares with the table. So if you had a table of 10 people, just for simple math, you'd have 5 problems come up as being important for the organization. Then as a table, you vote on which of those 5 is most relevant or important for the organization. So let's just suppose that through that discussion process, our table chose this card. I work in an open environment and have lots of noise and visual distractions. As a table, we've agreed that's the most important issue. The other 2 tables are doing the same thing, and so at the end of that process, we have 3 problems that the whole room has agreed are the most important problems for the organization. You then repeat a similar process using the solution cards. So everybody would get dealt 7, 10, however many you think will work best for your people. 7 solution cards, 10 solution cards. And now we're focused on solving those 3 problems. So I would look through the deck, the hand that I have, and say, okay, we've got an open, noisy, distracting environment. I think we need to manage our messaging. We have too many interruptions going. Some of those interruptions are coming from instant messages, email notifications, etc. That's my best solution. I talk with my discussion partner. We each bring a solution. We decide which one is best. Again, we share at the table. So at a table of 10, you'd have 5 solutions geared towards one of those 3 problems you found earlier. Table votes on the best solution. Each table does that. You end up surfacing 3 solutions that each table thinks are really going to help with those 3 problems that you identified earlier. That's an example of facilitating discussion using the cards in Choose Happiness at Work. Those are 3 of my favorite ideas, but you'll find many more in this instruction and suggestion booklet, and you may come up with other great ways of using the cards for fun and to facilitate meaningful discussion and action in your organization. We encourage you to experiment and use the cards however you like, and at Happy Brain Science we would love to hear how you've used the cards in addition to the normal play structure, how you have used the cards to boost happiness and engagement at work. Thanks so much for choosing happiness at work.